Can you please introduce yourself to the jurors and spell your name for the court reporter?
My name is Michael Hunter. It's Michaelhunter.
Where do you currently work, and what is your present position?
I currently work for Center Ospey Fire Department, and the position would be firefighter.
And what's your role for the Ospey Fire Department?
Is plainly firefighter EMT.
And back in December of 2023, were you working a different position?
Yes, I was.
And where were you working back in December of 2023?
I was working for Action Ambulance.
And what was your position with Action Ambulance?
It was an EMT.
And what is an EMT?
It's an emergency medical technician.
And what type of work does an emergency medical technician do?
Essentially just provide basic life support services in the event of an emergency call-out.
And what training in general have you received in order to be an EMT?
It's a national accredited program by the National Registry of EMTs and successfully passed the proctored exam.
And about when did you begin work as an EMT? About?
I believe it was 21 or 22. I apologize, I can't remember. I believe it was 22.
Several years.
Correct.
And is it a profession in which you're still engaged? You still an EMT?
Still licensed, correct.
You testified that in December of 2023 you were working as an EMT for Action Ambulance. What generally is Action Ambulance?
It would be the agency that's responding to any emergency call-out within our coverage area.
And where was that ambulance station where you worked back in December of 2023?
It was in Ospey.
And what? I'm sorry.
Ospey, New Hampshire.
And what general service area was covered by Action Ambulance?
They cover, as far as Wakefield, Ospey Corner, up to Effingham, Freedom, Tamworth, etc.
I want to turn your attention now specifically to December 17th of 2023. That morning, were you working for Action Ambulance as an EMT?
Yes.
And later that morning, did you and other members of Action Ambulance respond to 332 Water Village Road in Ossipee for a call for medical service?
Yes, we did.
And we're going to talk about that call for medical service shortly. Was that service call documented in any way by Action Ambulance?
It would have been documented in the PCR by the highest level provider that responded to the call.
And what is a PCR?
It's a patient care report, standard for every call.
And what general information would be in a patient care report?
It'd be anywhere from patient information to all the details of the call, what transpired, what the call it was for, primary concern, etc.
In addition to the preparation of a report, you didn't prepare that report?
I did not.
But it was prepared in the normal course of Action Ambulance business?
Correct.
Did you also speak with law enforcement investigators about that call for service that you went to on December 17th?
Briefly after the event, yes.
And when you say after the incident, so was that same day?
Correct.
And have you had occasion to review a recording of that interview?
Yes.
And actually, have you just had a chance to review a transcript of that interview?
I have.
Did you recall that particular call out before you reviewed the recording and the transcript of your interview with law enforcement?
Yes.
Were aspects memorable to you?
Yes.
With respect to the call for medical service at 332 Water Village Road on December 17th, how were you and other medical personnel summoned to that address generally? In other words, how did the call come in?
So the call would come in via 911 or direct to Carroll County, and they would tone us out, and we would respond based on that tone to the address listed.
And when you say tone us out, that means just tell you to go to a particular location?
It's an audible tone that comes across the radio and will alert us to an incoming call. They'll give the address information, the brief nature of the call if they have it.
Were you the only member of Action Ambulance to respond to the address that morning?
No, I was not.
Who else from Action Ambulance went to 332 Water Village Road that morning of December 17th?
That was my partner, Brian Reed, and the other ambulance, which was Emma Quinn and Riley Hoverman.
So there were 4 providers in total in 2 ambulances?
Correct.
And did all 4 of you go to that address together in your vehicles?
In both ambulances separately, correct.
And what was the nature of the call for medical assistance that was received that morning? What do you remember about it?
It came toned in as a unconscious female not breathing.
And given the nature of the call that somebody was unconscious and not breathing, how did you and the other medical responders respond to that address?
It would be an immediate response to lights and sirens.
And did you both ambulance crews arrive at that location at about the same time?
Yes.
Was there initially some confusion over where specifically at 332 Water Village Road to respond to?
There was. There appeared to be a residence up on the hill. It's very snowy and muddy. So we started walking in the direction, passing by a small structure that was to our right. When the officer on scene made contact with whoever was in the residence, he had let us know that it was actually down at that small structure close to the street. So we turned around to go to that area instead.
And is that structure you ultimately went to where you saw and tried to treat the injured female?
Correct.
And describe generally the residence or the place that you and other medical providers went to provide aid to the injured female.
It appeared to be an animal pen converted into living quarters, small shack or shed attached to another structure I couldn't really see.
What happened when you got to the residence? What do you remember happening when you actually got there?
I remember going through a series of small fences and wire gates, indicative of an animal enclosure, and walked up to a doorway with it's a curtain on a rod.
And what did you see and what did you do?
So pulling back the curtain, I don't know if it was myself or the officer, I saw a female lying supine, head towards the door.
When you say supine, what do you mean by that?
Face up on her back.
Okay. And what else do you remember seeing at that point in time?
I remember seeing an individual, what appeared to be performing chest compressions.
Male or female?
Male.
What did you do at that point in time when you saw the female lying on the floor?
I told him to move so I could assess vitals.
And what did you do at that point when you told the male to move away from the female?
I immediately started assessing her vitals, looking for a pulse.
What was her condition when you began treating her?
I remember she was very cold to the touch. She had a lot of blood in her hair, her face. She had some bruising in her chest area.
Was she breathing?
She was not breathing.
Did she have a pulse?
She did not.
Did she have a heartbeat?
She did not.
And so you said that you began, did you begin CPR at that point?
Correct.
Did the other three members of the medical team from Action Ambulance also provide medical treatment to the female who had no pulse?
They did.
And we're going to talk about the treatment provided in a moment. You testified that there was a male initially working on the female on the floor?
Correct.
Did you see anyone else in the room besides the female who was not breathing and had no pulse, the male with her, and the other three medical providers with you?
I don't recall anyone else.
Did you recognize either the female who was not breathing or the male who was with her?
I do not.
With respect to the male in the room, would you recognize him if you saw him again?
His face, yes.
And do you see him in the courtroom here today?
I do.
Can you identify him through clothing that he's wearing?
Correct. He'd be in the blue or green tie and light-colored button-down shirt.
May the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant?
It will.
With respect to the female who had no pulse, there's going to be a photo on the screen. This will be the only photo that we'll have with you. And it may be hard to see. And do we see here the female that you and other medical providers provided treatment to?
Yes.
And am I pointing to her correctly right here?
Yes.
It's not her full body in the picture, but from what you see, is that how she appeared generally when you and other medical providers gave her medical treatment?
Generally, yes. Probably with a little less blood around her face area.
And with respect to the location where she's in this photograph, is that where she was when you and other members of Action Ambulance were providing treatment to her?
Correct. That was a location.
Was the entire treatment that you and others provided to her conducted on the floor where we see here?
Yes.
Was she ever moved to an ambulance or off the floor by you or other medical providers?
No.
And why not?
She's pronounced deceased on the scene.
And why wasn't she moved during the initial treatment?
You wouldn't move a body after it's pronounced deceased. That would be a police matter at that point.
You testified that when you first came across the female, you immediately conducted CPR. Can you explain what you did manually, please?
So immediately would mean assessing vitals, and then
Okay, sorry.
follow-up to that would be CPR. She did not have a pulse, and CPR is just essentially trying to or attempting to circulate blood throughout the body, simulate blood flow.
And what was your role in the treatment provided to her? Was it focused on that CPR that you were giving?
Basic life support, correct.
What additional treatment was given to the injured female by other members of the ambulance crews from what you saw?
In this situation, I believe my partner had started initiating an airway. Emma had helped me put pads on her chest to hook up to the monitor, and I believe Riley initiated the IO access in her leg.
Okay, so you just went over some technical terms that I'm going to go over with you. You said your partner was clearing an airway. What do you mean by that?
Essentially, you want to establish a patent airway so you can move air in and out of the lungs.
You also talked about putting pads on the female's chest and hooking her up to a monitor. If you can explain that, please.
It's typical, like you would see a defibrillation pad. So essentially, we'll deliver a mild shock if there's any electrical activity to kind of correct that activity to resume normal heartbeat.
Did normal heartbeat ever resume?
It did not detect any activity.
And I believe you also said OIS. If you can explain to us what OIS is.
Intraosseous access is essentially drilling into the bone just below the knee or to the left of the knee to gain access for fluid, to administer fluid.
And why would you drill into a bone rather than inject with a needle, for example?
When you don't have circulating blood flow, your veins collapse and you can't access them with standard, IV access.
At some point, did you stop manual CPR?
Yes.
And if you can explain that to the jurors?
I believe Osby Corner had someone bring their Lucas to the scene, which is an automatic called CPR device, which essentially provides chest compressions mechanically.
The defendant, was he in the room the entire time that you and other medical providers were treating the female with no pulse, who was not breathing?
The times that I had looked over to in his direction, he was there.
At one point during your treatment of the female who had no pulse, did you ask the defendant when he last saw her breathing or talking?
I did.
And why did you ask him that?
It helps to know how long she could potentially have been in this state, which would give the medic an idea to how to formulate a treatment plan.
And what was the defendant's response to when he had last saw the woman talking or breathing?
He said it was approximately 30 minutes or so.
Before you got there?
Correct.
Do you recall anything else the defendant said either to you or to any of the other medical providers with you regarding his interactions with the female that morning?
He had mentioned that they got in an argument that morning.
And did you ask further about that?
I did. I think the answer was that he didn't want to get into it considering the circumstances, if I remember correctly.
So the defendant said he didn't want to get into the argument considering the circumstances?
Correct.
What injuries do you remember seeing on the female during your treatment of her?
A lot of deep bruising on her chest. She did have a black eye, or what appeared to be a black eye. Again, I didn't assess too much further into the nature of her injuries due to just performing basic life-saving services.
While treating the female, did you have an opportunity to see her abdomen area, even though that wasn't the focus of your attention?
Yes.
And what do you remember about the appearance of her abdomen?
It was very distended.
From what you saw with respect to her abdomen, putting aside your medical training and experience, just from what you saw, how did she appear?
I think anybody that would have looked would have assumed she was pregnant.
For about how long did you and other members of the medical team try to revive the female inside the room where you were treating her?
It was at least the 20-minute mark that I heard was noted, and I think we went just slightly past that mark.
And did her condition ever change at any point during that 20 minutes or so of trying to revive her?
It did not.
Did she ever regain consciousness?
She did not.
Did she ever start breathing on her own?
She did not.
Did you ever get a heartbeat from her?
We did not.
When the female was pronounced dead about 20 minutes after trying to revive her, where did you and the other medical providers go at that point in time?
I'm sorry.
Generally.
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah, after she was pronounced dead, did you and the other medical providers then leave that room and leave the area?
We did.
What about the woman whose life you tried to save? What was done with her body when you and the other medical providers left that room?
Typically, you try to make her as decent as possible and pick up any equipment that you used during the call, and you would leave.
And when you and other medical providers left, did you leave behind items used in the resuscitation efforts?
The non-reusable items like airway devices, any other type of gauze or nasal tubes, anything that you wouldn't be able to reuse.
Those would have been left.
All those items would have been left.
One moment. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hunter. So when you arrived, you saw Mr. Kelly, or who you later learned to be Mr. Kelly, performing chest compressions.
Correct.
And that means doing CPR?
Correct.
And to be very obvious, CPR is meant to be a life-saving measure, right?
Correct.
And so he was trying to revive her when you arrived?
It appeared so, correct.
Okay. And he continued to do CPR until your crew asked him to move out of the way, right?
I asked him to move out of the way.
You asked him, specifically. So he continued to do that until you asked him?
For the brief, maybe 10 seconds or so from making contact to walking in the door.
Okay. And that was so you could take over, right? The
Correct.
professionals? Mr. Kelly was emotionally distraught when you got there, right?
It would have appeared so, yes.
Okay. That's like while he was doing CPR.
Yes.
And also while you and your team were working to revive Ms. Falzone.
Yes.
He was crying
Yes.
and he was pacing around.
I think he was sitting and standing quite a bit.
He didn't have
Combination of
much-
the both.
Sorry about that. What was the last thing you said?
It was just pretty much sitting and standing.
He didn't have much room to move, right?
There was literally no room in that area.
But he was extremely upset. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Just as anyone else in that situation would be.
Sure.
And he kept asking the EMTs if she was going to make it.
Yes.
So we just kind of mentioned this, but when you and your team came in, Mr. Kelly sort of got naturally pushed toward the back of the residence, right?
There was no other exit.
Okay. So he's kind of stuck back there behind everyone who's working.
Correct.
And you said that Ms. Falzone, and we saw the photo, was lying with her head toward the door.
Yes.
Okay. And your whole team, so it's 4 of you, right?
Correct.
All surrounding her?
Yes.
And there was literally no room for anyone else to
Next to
come in?
nothing for anyone else to come in.
Okay. So Mr. Kelly really couldn't go anywhere, right?
No.
Okay. He's sort of blocked in back there?
That's assuming there's no other exits, which I didn't look at.
You didn't see any other exit, though?
Not in that room.
Okay. And I want to ask you about what you and your team were wearing. Is this uniform you're wearing today what you were wearing at that time?
This is very similar. Yes.
Very similar. So it is a uniform, am I right?
Correct.
And it looks like you have a patch on the side.
Yes.
And you have a badge on your chest.
Yeah. So the patch on the side would have been an action ambulance in the designation as an EMT. There
Okay.
would be no badge typically.
No badge that you had that day,
Correct.
but uniform.
Correct.
And the other 3 also uniformed?
I can't recall.
You can't recall. Okay, that's fine. So while you and the other EMTs are trying to work on Christine to try to revive her, your team is asking Mr. Kelly questions.
Yes.
Because you're trying to help the patient.
We need as much information as possible to formulate a treatment.
And part of that is finding out what happened, right?
Correct.
And is it fair to say this was a pretty chaotic situation?
It always is.
Always is. And there are radios going off, right?
Not necessarily, unless there's other calls in the coverage area.
Okay. Do you remember if there were radios going off in this case?
I don't.
Okay. There were police outside the front door, right?
Yes.
Okay. More than one officer?
I know Officer French was there, Corporal French, and it was Chief Riley from Osby Corner, and there was one other individual from Osby Corner Fire Department that was on the outside of the door.
And you could see them?
Yes.
And the door was open?
Yes.
And they were how close?
Maybe 4 or 5 feet
From you?
from the head of the individual.
From the head of Miss Falzone?
Correct.
3, 4, 5 feet from Miss Falzone's head, is that what you're saying?
Outside of the door. Correct.
Okay. But within earshot?
Yes.
And within sight of everything that was happening?
Yes.
So, obviously, we just said this was chaotic. It's a heightened emotional state for everyone that's involved. Is that fair to say, too?
Yes.
Okay. And so that was what was happening when Mr. Kelly made the statements that the state asked you about on direct examination.
Yes.
So, Mr. Hunter, you talked about your training in emergency medicine. And so you're trained kind of in the basics, I assume, to be able to provide emergency services to kind of whoever you encounter. Is that fair?
Basic life support services within my scope, correct.
Okay. And part of your training, does it involve working with pregnant patients?
We encounter them, yes.
You encounter them. And so are you aware that there are specific pregnancy-related medical disorders?
Yes.
Okay. And specifically bleeding disorders, things like that?
Correct, yes.
Right. Do you know if Ms. Falzone had any of those complications?
I wouldn't have any ability to know that.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, I'm not going to show the picture again, but the state brought up the photo of Ms. Falzone in the doorway, and the state specifically asked you about if that was how she looked at the time that you arrived. Do you recall that?
I do.
Okay, and you said something, I wanted to make sure that it was clear. You said that with the exception of this photo showing a bit more blood, that was how she looked.
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Correct.
And I want to talk about why. So, when you were providing, intending to provide life-saving services to her, she was bleeding more, right?
Through her airway, correct.
So airway, we're talking nose and mouth?
Mostly it was out of her mouth.
Okay. And so that blood, not all of that blood on her shirt was present when you arrived?
No, this was small traces of blood. She had a little blood on her face and her hair, but mostly, a majority of the blood was noted afterwards.
Okay, and the reason why is that partially doing chest compressions can sort of move that blood out?
It will move fluid, correct.
Okay. And so, for lack of a better term, the blood is sort of spewing out and getting on other surfaces, right?
Yes.
Including her shirt, right?
It can get anywhere, correct.
On you?
Yes, on us all the time.
All the time. And so if there was blood on Mr. Kelly, from Mr. Kelly, who you know was performing chest compressions, that would not be surprising, right?
You could assume that would be the case.
Okay. Just one moment, please. That's all the questions I have for you. Thank you.
You agreed with counsel that the defendant, you described him as upset, right?
Yes.
You also used other words to describe his behavior, right?
I did.
I believe you used odd and strange,
Very standoffish, just not very forthcoming with answering questions.
evasive.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any further cross?
No, Your Honor.
May this witness be released?
Yes, Mr. Hunter, you're free to go. Please step down. Free to go. Thank you very much.
State's next witness is Riley Hoverman.
Sir, if you would kindly step up here to this chair. I'm sorry, ma'am, my apologies. Right up here. And would you kindly remain standing for a moment and raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you, Jason.
Good afternoon. If you can please introduce yourself to the jurors and spell your name for the court reporter.
I'm Riley Hoverman. I'm a paramedic. And my name is Riley, R-I-L-E-Y, Hoverman, H-A-B-E-R-M-A-N-N.
And where do you currently work and what is your current position?
So currently I'm a firefighter paramedic with Center Ospey Fire. I also work for Wentworth Douglas Hospital as an anesthesia tech.
Back in December of 2023, did you have a different job?
Yes, I was
And what
working.
job- Oops, I'm sorry.
I was working for Action Ambulance as a paramedic.
And we just heard from the other witness who was an EMT. Is a paramedic different from an EMT?
Yes.
And if you can explain the differences generally for us.
Okay. So as a paramedic, I can give more drugs. I can do more skills than an EMT can. An EMT is basic life-saving needs, whereas a paramedic is advanced life-saving needs.
And is it fair to say you've had more training as a paramedic than you have as an EMT?
A lot more training.
About when did you begin work as a paramedic? About?
About 6 to 8 years ago.
And is it a profession that you're still engaged in? You still
Yes.
certified?
Yes.
I want to turn your attention specifically to the morning of December 17th of 2023. Did you and other members of Action Ambulance respond to 332 Water Village Road in Ossipee for a call for service?
Yes, sir.
And we're going to talk about that call for service shortly. Was the call documented in any way by Action Ambulance?
Yes, sir.
And how was it documented?
Every call we go on needs a patient care report, so it's an electronic file.
And who actually completed the patient care report in this case?
I did.
Did you also speak to law enforcement investigators about the call for service?
Yes, sir.
And when was that interview that you had with law enforcement?
Later on that afternoon.
And have you had a chance to review an audio recording of your interview with law enforcement?
Yes, sir.
And also a transcript that was recently given to you?
Yes, sir.
Had you recalled that particular call out before you reviewed the transcript in your recorded interview?
I remember certain things from that, but the more detailed things, I got recollection from the recording and the transcript.
And was there also details contained in your patient care report?
Yes, sir.
So with respect to the particular call for service at 332 Water Village Road, I want to start at the point that you and other medical providers encountered an injured female, okay?
Yes, sir.
And where was that injured female when you first saw her?
She was laying on the floor with her head towards the doorway and her feet more towards the inside of the residence.
And was anyone with her that you saw?
Yes,
Uh,
a male.
Did you see anyone else in the room besides the injured female, the male with her, and the 3 other medical providers with you?
Not inside the residence.
So while the treatment was going on, it was the medical providers, the female, and the male with her?
Correct.
Did you recognize either the injured female or the male who was with her?
No, sir.
With respect to the male in the room with that injured female, would you recognize him if you saw him again?
Possibly.
Do you think you see him here in the court?
I don't believe so right now. Not to my recollection.
Fair enough. So I'm going to refer to him as the male, okay?
Okay.
What was the injured female's condition when you and the other medical providers started treating her?
She was not conscious, not breathing. She did not have a pulse.
What was your role in the treatment provided to that injured female?
So I had to oversee all of the treatments that were being provided, as well as do other treatments. So I was instructing all of the other providers to do certain tasks to try and revive her. And then I was doing other tasks like getting an IO, giving her medications, and stuff like that.
And the jurors actually heard from the previous witness about what an IO is, so they know what that is. What kind of medications were you given to the injured female?
Epinephrine,
And
1 to
what is-
10,000.
What is epinephrine?
It's adrenaline
And what's the purpose of it?
to try and help restart your heart.
Did it ever do that?
No, sir.
Did you do that more than once, administer adrenaline?
Yes, sir. We gave her 6 doses.
Do you remember doing a check for blood sugar?
Yes, sir.
And what was the purpose of that?
So when your blood sugar is abnormally low, that can also be a reason that the patient's not conscious, not breathing, and does not have a pulse. So if we can rectify a low blood sugar, it increases our chance of saving the person.
And what was the result of the blood sugar test?
It was normal for us.
What about the other medical providers who were also trying to revive the woman? What kind of treatment were they giving that you remember?
So they were doing CPR, and we were providing bag breathing for her. So we have to give her respiration since she's not breathing for herself.
The male that you saw with the female, was he in the room the entire time that this treatment was going on?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall speaking with the male?
Yes, sir.
And why were you speaking with the male? What was the purpose of speaking to him?
So to get bystander information, such as when the last time they saw the patient conscious and breathing is a big thing. Also finding out if they're on any medications, and things of that sort.
And is that all to help you try to help the injured person?
Yes, sir.
With respect to questions that you asked of the man to help your treatment of that injured woman, did you ask him about timing of her injuries?
Yes, sir.
And what do you recall the male's response to that being?
He said the last time he saw her conscious breathing with a pulse was 15 to 30 minutes ago.
Did you ask the man about any injuries that you saw on the female that you were treating?
Yes, sir.
And what do you recall about that conversation?
He said they get into physical altercations frequently, and that he does not want to continue saying anything else, so he does not incriminate himself.
And were there any injuries in particular that you were asking about when that response came out?
We were looking at her right eye, which was bruised and swollen shut, as well as bruising to her abdomen, which were significant for us.
So you were asking about those injuries, and the male's response was that he would not incriminate himself?
Yes, sir.
Incriminate, is that a word that he actually used, or is that your?
Yes. Nope, that is a word he used.
And he also said that they get in physical fights all the time?
Correct.
Do you remember him also saying that he's a victim too, or claiming that?
Yes, sir.
You said that you also noticed some bruising to the woman's abdomen area.
Yes, sir.
From what you saw with respect to her abdomen, putting aside your training and experience, just from what you saw as a human, what did you believe her condition to be?
It appeared that she was pregnant.
And do you remember the man in the room, him saying anything about the woman's abdomen or potential pregnancy?
Yes, sir.
And what do you recall about that?
He said that she's unable to get pregnant, that they've had tests done, and the tests stated she's unable to get pregnant, and that her stomach had been like that for approximately 2 to 3 months.
And these various statements, were they recorded in your PCR and also in your interview with the police?
They were definitely recorded in my interview. I don't recall if they were entered into my PCR.
Do you recall that man saying anything else while you and the other members of the ambulance crews were trying to save the woman's life?
He was asking for his phone, which was towards her head, which we were unable to get to at that time because we were trying to save her life.
Was that something he was somewhat insistent upon?
Yes, sir.
So he was asking about his cell phone. Did he ever ask anything about the condition of the woman whose life you and the other medical providers were trying to save?
Not to my recollection.
For about how long did you and the other medical providers try to revive that injured woman?
Approximately 20 minutes.
And did her condition ever change during that time?
No, sir.
Did she ever regain consciousness?
No, sir.
Ever regain breathing on her own?
No, sir.
Ever get a heartbeat?
No, sir.
One moment. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Is it Ms. Hoverman?
Yes.
I want to say it right. Hoverman?
Yes.
So when you arrived, and we've talked about this with the prior witness, but the man that you saw was actively doing CPR.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So CPR is trying to save her life, doing chest compressions.
Yes, ma'am.
And he continued to do that until you all asked him to move out of the way so that you could take over.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I think you've said to officers that the man was emotionally distraught.
Yes, ma'am.
That was when you got there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And kind of throughout the whole time that your team was working on this Falzone.
Yes, ma'am.
He was crying, right?
I do not recall.
You don't recall if he was crying. He was extremely upset, though.
Yes, ma'am.
Fair to say. And he was kind of pacing in the small space that he had.
Yes, ma'am.
And now, the prosecutor just asked you if he ever asked anything about her condition. Do you recall that?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said no.
Yes, ma'am.
But he actually kept asking you if she was going to make it, right?
I do not recall.
Would showing a copy of the transcript of your interview refresh your recollection?
Yes, ma'am.
This is page 11. So, Ms. Hoverman, I'm just going to ask you to read this to yourself, not out loud, and then look up at me when you're done.
Okay.
All set?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that refresh your recollection as to whether he ever asked you if she was going to make it?
Yes, ma'am.
And he kept doing that, right?
Yes.
He kept asking you that.
Yes.
So Mr. Kelly was kind of in the back of the residence while your team was working on Miss Falzone.
Yes, ma'am.
And we talked about this before, I won't belabor the point, but there was not much room that he had, right?
There was not hardly any room.
Okay. Pretty narrow
Yes,
space,
ma'am.
even for you all to work.
Yes, ma'am.
And so he could not get out, right?
No.
He couldn't really go anywhere.
No.
Definitely couldn't get any air or kind of go get a
No.
little break, anything like that. Okay. And he's watching you all try to revive his girlfriend,
Yes, ma'am.
and it's not working, right?
Correct.
And so he's still distraught that whole time.
Yes, ma'am.
And there's nothing that he can do, right? He can't
Correct.
jump in there.
No.
I asked your colleague, and he wasn't sure what the rest of you were wearing. So were you also wearing a uniform that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What can you tell us what that uniform looked like?
Depending on the weather, I assume it was cold that day.
Okay.
Usually we'll wear what's called a job shirt, which is a quarter zip, long pants and boots.
Okay, so this quarter zip, does it have any like insignia or logo or anything like that?
Depending on the person, yes.
Let me ask you this, is it kind of a uniform though?
It's part of a uniform, yes, ma'am.
Okay, is there
It's for
anything,
colder weather.
is there anything else that goes along with the uniform that's recognizable as a uniform?
A radio sometimes.
Okay, you've got radios, is that on your hips?
Sometimes they're on radio straps, is what we call them.
Okay. Do you recall, and it's okay if you don't, whether your other colleagues were also wearing uniforms that day?
They were definitely wearing uniforms.
Okay.
I do not recall specifically what they were wearing.
Okay, that's fair enough, thank you. So we talked about kind of the situation he's in. He's stuck in the back of this residence. He can't go anywhere. And you said he asks for his phone, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. He can't get his phone at that moment, right?
Correct.
He can't reach it.
No, ma'am.
It's not in a place where anyone could get it for him.
We could have gotten it for him, but we were actively trying to save her life.
Okay. So let me ask you this. It's not uncommon for someone who is distraught at the scene of an emergency to want to make a call, is it?
It is not uncommon for them to try and call.
Okay. And so, to try to reach out to someone for support, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And he said that he was trying to call his landlord, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know what his relationship with his landlord was like?
I do not know what their relation was. No.
Okay. So you don't know if they were actually friends too, right?
Correct. I don't know.
And you don't know if Mr. Kelly had any family he could have reached out to, right?
Correct.
Okay. So this is someone that actually lived on the property with him, right? Or did you learn that at some point?
That is news to me.
Okay. But again, you don't know if they were close friends.
Correct.
Okay. And if they were close friends, Mr. Kelly wanting to call him wouldn't be unusual at all, right?
Correct.
Now, when you told him you couldn't get his phone, he said okay. He didn't want to get in your way, right?
I do not recall.
Okay, that's fine. So, your team's asking him questions, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's still in the same situation we just talked about with him sort of stuck in the back of that residence,
Yes, ma'am.
right? And this is pretty chaotic, isn't it?
Very chaotic.
Very chaotic, a lot of emotion, right?
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of activity,
Yes, ma'am.
a lot of noise, right? Machines, things like that.
A little bit of noise, yes.
Okay. You all trying to talk to each other,
Yes, ma'am.
and then also trying to talk to him.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you talked to the prosecutor about some of the statements he made, and I want to be really clear. And I want to ask you about this statement about not incriminating himself.
Yes, ma'am.
So that was an answer to a specific question you asked, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was specifically about her eyes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That was not an answer of what happened today, right?
Today?
Right. So let me ask that again. That was not his answer to a question such as what happened here today, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you mentioned the statement that they get into physical fights often.
Yes, ma'am.
You believed and you perceived that comment as a general comment, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Not him saying that they had gotten into a physical fight that morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And he never said that they had gotten into a physical fight that morning, right?
Correct.
Okay. You testified that he said that he had last seen her 15 to 30 minutes ago. I want to ask you a little about that.
Yes, ma'am.
You asked him that question to try to determine when she was last alive and well, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if you asked. Were you the one that asked him that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And your partner, Emma Quint, was also there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so your recollection is that he said that he had seen her 15 to 30 minutes prior or prior to calling 911?
I do not recall.
Okay.
I would believe it to be 15 to 30 minutes prior, and then he recognized that she was not around and then located her and then made the call.
Okay, right. So just to be clear, your understanding is 15 to 30 minutes before he called for help. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I want to make sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The bruising on Miss Falzone's body, I just want to ask you a couple questions about that. Is it fair to say those bruises were kind of different colors?
Yes, ma'am.
Some were darker, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Some were a little lighter.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that suggests to you that they were in various states of healing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you can't say yourself whether a certain bruise was from that day, right?
Correct.
Okay, or from the day before,
Correct.
or even a few days old?
Correct.
The residence that you were in, I know you made some notes about it in the patient care report. To your recollection, it was essentially like a small shed or shack, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And it was one room from what you could see.
It appeared to be, when we entered, to be like a kitchen/hallway,
Okay.
and then it appeared to be like a little bit of a room down the hallway a little bit.
Okay.
It wasn't a big residence,
Okay.
though.
Let me ask you this though. You could see a bed, right?
Towards the end of the hallway.
And it was on the floor, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a lot of other stuff, right? It was very cluttered.
Very cluttered.
Okay. And we said this before, very, very tight quarters for you to work.
Yes, ma'am.
And there were plenty of obstacles and hazards that you had to be aware of all over.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that you observed was that Miss Falzone's left eye was dilated. Do you recall that?
Yes, ma'am.
And that means it was sort of like bulging a little bit?
No. So dilating means your pupil will be bigger in size
I see.
versus constricted.
And that indicated to you that she had suffered some sort of head trauma.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But you didn't see a specific head injury, right?
Other than her bruised and swollen eye,
Okay.
we did not notice anything significant.
Okay. And that doesn't mean there wasn't one there, right? But your focus
Yes,
was
ma'am.
on resuscitating.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Hoverman, you don't know Mr. Kelly, right?
Correct.
And I guess you weren't able to identify him, so we're just talking about the male in the room. You don't know that man, right?
I don't know him.
Okay.
I only saw him the one day for a very short period of time.
Okay. Had never met him before that day.
Correct.
Okay. You don't know anything about him. either.
Correct.
And you don't know how he responds to emotion or trauma or anything like that, right?
Correct.
And you've responded to a lot of emergencies.
I have.
Okay. So I assume you've dealt with a lot of people in traumatic situations.
I have.
And that includes patients, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That includes family members.
Yes, ma'am.
That includes people who are in shock.
Yes, ma'am.
Also people who are in denial.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody is different, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And everybody responds differently to trauma.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think that's all of the questions I have for you.
And in all of those possibly hundreds of situations where you've asked somebody how somebody has received certain injuries, have you ever gotten a response like, I'm not going to incriminate myself?
No, sir.
Recross? Thank you very much.
May this witness be released?
Yes, Ms. Hoverman, I thank you very much, and you are free to step down and breathe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.